everyone and welcome back to our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video last week. It's actually done really well. We're quite surprised actually, but yeah, really excited to carry on and go through all the designs and everything with you today. It's absolutely glorious here. Me and Stanley have already been out on a walk this morning and I've also got another walk planned with our friends today. So yeah, I'm really excited. Saturday is a good day. So we are going to go through and show you all of the drawings that we've had done by the architect and show you what we've got planned, and hopefully you guys will really enjoy it, really like it. And we're also going to do a top tip little guide at the end of the video, just to kind of give you an idea of what processes we've gone through to get to this stage of the build. Okay, so let's start with a little bit of background about the house and how we end up here. So we actually weren't expecting
to move at all. We weren't moving.
We were actually looking for a smaller house that we could do up ourselves, just a bit of cosmetic work here and there, nothing massive. But you found this house on Rightmove on a Friday.
Yeah.
We booked in to view it on the Saturday.
Yeah.
We put our house up for sale on the Thursday. Did 16 viewings, 18 viewings over the weekend. Then we... I know, but I buggered off. I was having nothing to do with it. And then we'd sold our house by the next Thursday.
Hi, Stanley.
And we bought this on the Friday. So it was an absolute manic whirlwind 2 weeks that I don't think we ever expected ourselves, a year later pretty much, to be sat here talking about these drawings. But it's super exciting.
It is a year. It's a year this coming week. End of January.
Oh my god.
Wow. And our little friend came along all the way with us. Didn't you, mister? It was a whirlwind for you as well.
You were a good boy though, moving, weren't you?
Mm. Come on, get down. Good boy. So Charlotte, you said in the last episode you had a vision for this house. I definitely didn't. I thought I did when I first saw it on Rightmove because it was me that found it, but I think when I got here I got a little bit overwhelmed with it all.
Mm.
But it changed you completely, didn't it?
Yeah, I was a bit more reserved actually when we first saw it online. I was really set on getting a smaller house, but when I saw it, it was like,
Potential.
wow. Yeah, I mean, even like just walking in and seeing the decor, but just imagining it all being opened up, having a big kitchen, diner, living space. We kind of got that at the old house, but not on this scale. And I think to be able to have this big open plan area and then a separate lounge is just, it was everything that I'd ever wanted, and this was definitely going to give us that. So if we start to delve into the drawings, at the moment you walk into the porch, it's very small, you walk through and you're greeted by the downstairs toilet. You then turn left into sort of like a weird hallway that's bang in the middle of the house, it's very dark, and then all the rooms lead off there. You can also see the big garage that flows the whole length of the house, and then we've got this sort of back area that is a complete waste of space. It has also been extended with the current extension, so it's a massive area that if it remained as a garage would stay as a dumping ground.
It'd be a man cave.
You're not having a man cave?
Well, I'm not having a man cave as by these drawings, but that was my idea for it at the time.
Look, I've offered you to have a nice office.
We'll
That's
get
it.
to that.
That's all you're having, I'm afraid.
Yeah, what happened to that?
So in the new drawings now, you walk in through the front door and we've completely got rid of the porch. This was quite a big thing for me because I wanted to be able from the front door to look straight through out into the garden. So now you walk in, you walk through the entrance, straight through, and then you're into like sort of in between the snug and the dining room, and you can see straight through the bifold doors into the garden. We've also relocated the downstairs toilet, so instead of walking in and seeing that, it's now tucked away behind the stairs where the hall used to be. You then kind of U-turn to go into the lounge. Not really much is changing in that room, it's just a case of making that window way bigger. Back into the entrance hall. Behind the stairs now, we have put a cloakroom. So we've actually made the dining room, kitchen, snug less deep. Probably about 1 metre shallower than what it currently is now. This kind of alleviates that really hard, dark, grim little corner in the dining room that we've got at the moment, isn't it?
Nice big light in there at the minute, it's fine.
But that's sort of going and will be repurposed as storage, because I always think as you walk into the house, you want to be greeted by your house. You don't want to be walking into a pile of coats, a pile of shoes, a pile of bags. You want to be able to chuck all that junk into a cupboard, shut the door, and for no one to see it. So that was a really big thing for me. You then come in, we've got the snug on the right, you've got the dining room in the middle, and then the kitchen with a nice big island and 2 lots of bifold doors on the back. We're also raising the flat roof and putting skylights in, which increases the light by like 60%, 80%. So it will make the room so much brighter. I'm super, super excited about that.
To make these changes, there's quite a bit of complexity built around the steelwork to ensure that the back of the house doesn't fall down, because it's already been extended, so it's been opened up, and the steelwork obviously needs to come out that's already supporting that. So the way that the architect did it was quite clever. So he actually set back the extension over the garage a little bit, which allowed us to offset those steels. Basically taking away a vertical steel that we were pretty much set on having, weren't we? I mean, we thought we were maybe going to have a fireplace in the middle of the room and whatnot, but again, very cleverly he's put it through, and he's even worked in what they call a cranked beam. I'm trying to sound a little bit clever, I'm definitely not, I'm using words that he's used. But effectively it takes the steel up into the pitched roof itself and come back down and holds it across effectively what was the dining room walls. So really pleased with how that actually turned out, and it allowed that full 11 metres to be that entire space, whereas we thought we had to break it up.
And then we've made the utility room bigger as well, so we've also got another fridge freezer, boiler, probably a bit of junk, and then we've also got a little Stanley shower, because, you know, he's got to have his paws wiped after he comes back from work.
It actually has his name on the sink.
It's allocated to Stanley. It's going to be like a Belfast sink, just sort of like lowered so he can like get in it. I'm excited.
Does anybody else have these little things when you've got a dog, the life and everything revolves around the dog?
So now we'll look at the renders that the architect put together, and I think this is where we got like the most excited. Floor plans are great, but you know when you actually see it, like, oh, is my house going to look like that? And we've had like discussions about render and cladding, but this is the image that we saw with the full height windows, and that was, we were just sold on it then. We were really unsure about how it would kind of look and privacy and stuff like that, but when we saw this image it was just like, yeah, we've definitely got to have that. We've also looking at doing a full height window on the side, which I do think will look good. It might get red penned, I don't know yet.
It might be an additional cost that we have to look at.
Yeah, and same with the canopy. So at the moment we're looking at doing like phased work, so we'll do the main bulk of the downstairs first, and the extension will be like a second phase.
So Charlotte would say that the upstairs isn't really changing. I definitely notice a change. I'm not complaining, because I think in the end it will actually make the room better.
He is complaining.
But my office is getting smaller. We are making a bigger family bathroom, and I do think it will be the right thing to do. But of course I lose space out of my office, so I'm not greatly pleased by that. But having a walk-in shower in the bathroom I do think is going to be a really nice feature. We thought about leaving the bathroom as it is and just having a walk-in shower and getting rid of the bath, but then we'll probably have another shower in the ensuite in the master bedroom when that's created. So 2 showers, great, it's what you probably use most, but to have a bath as well, it's really nice to have, isn't it? And it does make, I think it's a good selling feature having a bath in a house. So yeah, the rest of the main bit of the upstairs, it doesn't change really, does it? Some wardrobes, some built-in wardrobes, things like that, but it's more cosmetic until we get to the extension. When we build over the garage, that's where I think this house really starts to transform. You can see from the front of the house, huge big pane of glass, nice angular look to it. We've actually flipped the roof, or the architect flipped the roof in comparison to all the other properties around us that have been extended in a similar area. which again just transforms the look of it, doesn't it? And
Yeah.
it will make the house stand out and be very different, which really excited us when we first saw those plans. And yeah, just, I mean, having a walk-in wardrobe.
I know, who I think we are.
That is pretty damn cool. We definitely haven't had one of those before. So the space is just going to be fantastic up there, and an ensuite again, not something that we've had.
And just another thing on the master bedroom, we won't actually have loft space above that room. So where the roof is pitched, it will be full height. And our ceilings are actually quite low in this house. They're about 2.35 metres, whereas your standard's like 2.4. So I think this will be the real wow room. We're going to have great ceiling height. We're going to have Velux in there as well. So as well as the full height window at the front, we'll also get loads of light in through the roof.
There is one change that I'm taking the red pen to, and I see why it's there. The architect really wants it, but I think
really
it's quite an additional cost to actually put it in, and it's intrusive to actually the existing roof and a few other things. So the roof light into the hallway, for me, I think gets a vote of no confidence.
Vote Charlotte in the comments if you want to keep it. Someone be on my side, please. I need this skylight. Okay, so in the next part of the video, we're going to move on and go through some tips and tricks to help you navigate your way through your own project. I'm hoping that this section will show you the processes we've had to go through to get to this part of the build, and hopefully help you know what to expect if you ever want to venture and do this yourselves. So step number one is find your property. As we touched on earlier in the video, when we saw this house come up for sale, we just knew that this is the house that we wanted. So we bought and sold in less than 2 weeks, but it's definitely something that you need to consider and give a lot of thought. You know, if you are looking to buy a project, how much work do you want to do? Is it just cosmetic? Do you want to go the whole hog and give it a full facelift? If so, how much are you wanting to do yourself, or are you going to employ a builder to come and do the work for you? Step number two is budget. How much money have you got to spend? Not just on the property, but also the renovations, the architect, the structural engineer, and everything else in between. They say that it tends to cost 20% more than what you originally budgeted for to complete a project. Just make sure that the money that you're spending on the renovations and the property itself won't exceed the ceiling limit of the house. So after you've found your dream property and you know what your budget is, the next step is to enlist an architect. As we've said earlier in the video, Adam was dead against this at the beginning. He thought that our drawings were totally enough to enable us to start the build, and I can guarantee you that they are not. Architects are so specialised and they understand the whole structural things of the house. I've got no clue, to be honest. But yeah, they really will help, and it's money well spent. When selecting an architect, I would recommend shopping around. You know, not all architects offer the same package, and each architect definitely has their own design style. You need to sort of work with them to find out what that is, look at their previous work, have they come from recommendation, and then go from there. The architect will then normally ask you to write up a brief. Now, ours got rated A star by the architect. He said that he'd never seen a brief more detailed, even sort of down to having an oval table and what we wanted to use the rooms for, things like that, and a cloakroom. You know, that's just a must, isn't it? Probably a bit extreme for some people, but I don't like my junk on show. I can't help it, I'm just a bit of a neat freak. When you're dealing with your architect, do get them to push you a little bit. This stops the design becoming a bit stagnant. If you push for the best that you can possibly afford and then scale it back, get your big red pen out, cross things off, you know, we don't need this, we don't need that, we can't afford this, etc, etc. It will still elevate your design. Always aim for something higher end than probably you think you can afford. This will result in a much better design rather than aiming for mediocre. Okay, so step number 4 is planning permission. Now, not all builds will require planning permission. It depends on the changes that you're making. Most internal changes don't require planning permission, but if you're doing an extension or any external changes, you will need to apply to the council for permission to do this. It's up to you whether you apply yourself through the council website or you can ask your architect to do it for you. We went with that option. It just looked a lot easier. Our architect had already got all the information and it just made sense for him to put the form through for us. Planning permission can take a few weeks to be granted. Ours was actually delayed even further due to COVID, but it didn't really cause much of a problem. We were just really eager to go. There is also a fee to apply for planning permission. It's not extortionate, but it will vary depending on your council. The next step is structural engineers. Now, you will need a structural engineer if you are planning to remove any existing walls or changing the structure of your house in any way. We actually boo-booed with this in our last house. We didn't get a structural engineer or building regulations to come and sign off on a wall that we'd taken down. This actually did result in us needing an indemnity policy to sell our house and prove that it was safe. For our build, we definitely needed a structural engineer. As we've discussed, we're opening up 11 metres across the back of the house and as well as the front of the house almost starting to bow. So we definitely needed a structural engineer just to assess these issues and just come up with the best and the most affordable way of correcting these. And then the most important bit is you need to find a builder. I would always go off recommendation. Recommendation is the best way for a builder to find new work. You want someone that's experienced firsthand, how they deal with the client, how their work is, how good their work is. You know, you want this to be absolutely top notch. You don't want to find yourself halfway through a build with a cowboy builder that then abandons you with a half-built house. We got quotes from about 5 or 6 builders, and again, I would totally recommend putting them out to tender and just getting a really good idea of how much it's going to cost. The quotes that you will receive back will vary so much, not only in price but also in detail. We've had some really good ones where line by line we've been able to see the cost. And the most important thing for me is that you need to like your builder. You know, they're going to be in your house on site for months and months on end. You want the communication between you all to be absolutely seamless. Once you're happy with the builder, the price, the time scale, then get them booked in and get started. Thanks for watching today's video. We hope you enjoyed it and we hope that you found the top tips useful. And you know now exactly what we're doing with the house.
Yeah, really keen to actually hear what you think to the plans, and if you've experienced anything similar, let us know down in the comments. Subscribe, click the little bell as well, because that'll tell you when we've actually released the next video. So, see you guys on Monday.
See you Monday.